next guest has garnered over 36 million views collectively on YouTube and amassed over 500,000 followers. Don't worry, BMBC is coming. Coming fresh off of his 100th game as a coach for South Gwinnett High School for the past decade, Karee Howard has provided the blueprint for being a standout coach, mentor, and dad. And he's now the next guest on Big Moves, Bigger Conversation. In this episode, we will share his journey as a former athlete, coupled with how that has impacted the way he shows up as a coach. I personally experienced the energy of a high school game, and when I tell you it was unmatched. So without further ado, we are jumping in to the next episode of Big Moves, Bigger Conversation. Karee, it is so nice to have you on stage.
Nice to be here.
Awesome.
Appreciate you having me.
I definitely want to get on right into it with providing our audience some perspective on your background.
Well, I've been coaching for about 12 years. I started off coaching middle school,
Okay.
Girls and boys. My middle school girls and boys team both was undefeated for the longest. I worked my way up to high school. As a high school coach, I started off at South Gwinnett as an assistant.
Okay.
And then the the head coach left. They gave me the job. Well, they didn't give it to me. I earned it.
He earned.
Yeah, I earned it. I did what I was supposed to do to get there. As far as training wise, I've been grinding for training for about like 8-9 years.
Okay.
I started my YouTube about 8-9 years ago. My Instagram and all that social media platform back then garnered over 500,000 subscribers, millions and millions of views.
Yeah.
And I've just been rolling ever since.
Love that. And Karee, to that end, I did go to the last game.
Yeah.
Not last, we don't know when this will air, but a couple of Tuesdays ago.
Yeah.
And the energy was unmatched.
What game was that?
It was the one with, we need production.
No, you got to say that loud. Come on, say it. Say it.
Grayson?
Say which game that was.
It was, okay, so we came in with a perspective of what might happen.
Yeah.
And the game, like, it's been a while since I've been to a high school game.
Right.
And I do encourage you guys, go back to that element. It absolutely reminds you of what it felt like being in high school.
Right.
The cheering. I mean, to your point, the kids, they're totally different. But it is less about the kids in the room and more about how you're just like, remember when we used to be back in high school and how that, and I feel like it was one of the kids that's on your team. He's a freshman. I think it's number 8. Looking back at production.
Your favorite?
My favorite.
Cody.
12.
This kid, and I don't know you, he was amazing.
Yeah.
I felt like if that is an example of someone that you poured into, they did know he was a freshman as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a level of attention to just like, he just kept going.
Intensity.
And I knew that boy was tired.
Relentless.
I kept saying, that's my son. But my son needs a break. But that is the energy in the room. And I personally was like, damn, let's get on the calendar because it is exciting to see. And the fact that he's a freshman is unreal. Like, he is definitely, it was him and another player. They just like, they kind of look alike as well.
Jacob.
But he played more in the paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
this
sure.
is a former athlete.
No,
I was one of them kids where they was like, she ain't really that good. Leave it alone. But again, I feel like they bounced off of each other in that level, but excellent. And just the sportsmanship overall, I thought was also commendable for you and your entire team. And so, great job. And we could definitely see the community impact.
And y'all came to a great game. The energy was great.
It was a match.
Right, because we got a lot of freshmen. They have a few players, and our players play on the same AAU teams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's one of them things we right down the street from each other. Could possibly be a rivalry. You know what I'm saying? We just got to win a few more times to make it a rivalry. But respect to Grayson. Grayson is a great program, and they've been doing great things. But we got them this year. And the game that you was at, is one of them games that is a statement win for us. You know what I mean? Where a lot of people, when I was just talking about, we were just talking about impact.
Yeah.
That can change the impact of where our school goes, as far as how we're known. Where walking into that game is no longer, Grayson's definitely going to win. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we never want to diminish what Grayson got going on because them being good has nothing to do with us.
Right.
We just want, when you talk about South, to say, South Gwinnett is a great program. Yeah. Coach Howard over there doing a great job. His staff is over there doing a great job. Yeah. So that's what it was. So we definitely show great sportsmanship.
100%.
Afterwards, we didn't show as much support as we should. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that was the players though.
That was just us being intense and
Yeah,
hype and
yeah,
excited about
yeah,
winning. So,
yeah.
if anybody was offended by that, we apologize for that. But South Gwinnett is definitely making a big mark, making a big impact. The brand of, South Gwinnett, the Decatur Blazers and HE is all really gelling and making something real big.
Love that. And I would be remiss if I didn't note that I noticed of the 9 players, you all had on the same sneakers. Excuse me, coaches.
Coaches.
I mean, y'all were swagged out, so clearly
Yeah.
South Gwinnett got some money over there. South Gwinnett, the money team.
Yeah, yeah.
But we were getting ready to skip over this, and I do want to talk about the difference, the Neal deal,
Yeah.
but and the difference between high school and college. This was all a new concept to me.
Right.
So just educate me on like how that's even playing out.
So NIL is an intricate thing, you know what I mean? So
Look at me, vocabulary is so important. I apologize to my journalistic community. NIL.
yeah, Neil will work for you,
Okay,
you know what I'm
thank you.
saying? But just don't say it too loud. You
Okay.
see?
So whisper.
Yeah. But NIL is name, image, and likeness.
Okay, okay.
So for years in the college realm, kids haven't been getting paid, but the colleges are making tons of money
Mm,
off of these kids. And they're just saying, oh, you can go to my school for free.
yeah.
So now they're getting to where kids can get paid off their name, image, and likeness. But it has where you're supposed to be able to get brand deals and
Okay.
different things like that. The colleges were still not supposed to be being paying you, but you would just be able to, like, let's say Old Navy can pay you a certain amount to wear their clothes and post them and
Yeah.
different things like that. You can receive money. It's turned into now where the colleges are actually paying.
Okay.
And it had trickled down to high school. It got to Georgia for a little while.
Okay.
They was doing NIL where you can get NIL for like 6, 7 months, and they found out real fast when kids started putting up with Lamborghini,
Yeah.
we need to cut this out.
Yeah.
So they cut it out of Georgia. So now what that's doing though is watering the basketball down some to where players are just leaving and going to places where you can get paid. So
Okay.
they go to OTE, which is right in here in Georgia, or they go to different national schools that's not like official schools, but they're like what they call like prep schools or different things like
Okay.
that. But the money is real.
Okay.
I mean, kids are really getting checks. You know what I mean? College for sure. Kids. I've seen kids that don't play a minute don't receive 250,000,
Oh my
different things
goodness.
like that. But I think it's rightfully so
Okay.
because people are putting their butts in the seats because those kids are
Right.
coming. But I think along with a lot of this NIL stuff, just make sure your kids are having good money management because you also see kids when they hurt and they're not playing, they got 36 different chains on. And you're like, well, there you go. That's what they're doing with the money. When really, if you did the right thing with the money, let's say a kid go to school for 4 years, he receive $1 million. The right investments, that kid don't have to work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just handle the money the right way is all I'm saying. Give them some type of classes or different things like that to handle the money the right way. But that's another story. But NIL is definitely real. Kids are definitely getting money. I've had coaches call me about kids that I've had in my program.
Yeah.
And letting me know, okay, I got this amount of money for them. Can you send that message back to them? So it's definitely not a joke. It's definitely not, and when you're around it, you see how it makes stuff move as well, though.
Yeah.
Because along with the NIL came the transfer portal and all that stuff. Like once it happens at the college level, it trickles down to high school and it hits high school hard. And let's just talk about coaches having to maneuver and adjust and switch and all these different things. But Georgia, right now, kids cannot get paid
Okay.
and play high school basketball.
Okay.
If you want to get paid, they all go to OTE. That's what's going on.
Noted. And so when we think about Howard Elite, what's the story behind it?
Not a crazy story. Howard is my last name, the family name, and Elite is just semblance of everything that you're doing at the highest level. So they just put it two together and came up with Howard Elite.
Nice. So 100 wins later, what have you learned, and what do you want more from your students and parents to know?
The biggest thing I learned is just winning. Like 100 wins is really just a byproduct of everything that I do on a day in and day out. You know what I mean? Learning happens through all the other things that I do, not just the winning, like the talking to kids, building relationships, building confidence, understanding how kids learn, what makes them tick, and what really get them going. You know what I mean? So winning just comes from the byproduct of all that studying that I've done. You know what I mean? With kids, with children from all different ages.
Okay. And when you think about the mental side of it, how much of that factors in to their confidence, discipline, and then ultimately their decision making?
On the mental side is the biggest part of it. I mean, physical is not that hard to tap into. You know what I mean? You just got to put the hours in. But the mental side is really big. I'm dealing with that a lot this year because I got a lot of younger guys playing at the highest level, freshmen playing varsity.
Uh-huh.
So mental is every day. Every day I'm talking to them about things that they can do mentally to become better, things they can do mentally to be successful.
Yep.
And I think if you don't tap into the mental side, the rest of it really don't even matter. You know what I mean? You're just kind of there, you're going through the motions. So I'm always trying to tap into the mental side of what they do or how they do it by watching film with them. Sometimes I can just tell a kid having a bad day.
Yeah.
Be like, come here, man, let me holler at you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And talk to him because I know if I don't talk to him right now, the rest of this practice, regardless of what I do, gonna go downhill. You know what I mean? So I'm always checking on their mental after practice, even just asking guys, how are you feeling? I have therapists come in and talk to kids. You know what I mean? So I'm always locked in on the mental and understanding that if you don't get the mental under control, you never be successful at it.
And is that a new age thing? Like, as you think back to your experience as an athlete, as a former athlete, was that something that your coaches would have done back then, or that's something through experience you've now taken on?
I think it's new age for sure
Okay.
because I mean it was just different situations for us where we just had to go through different things mentally on our own
Mm-hmm.
to where if when problems arose, it wasn't so hard for us to maneuver through it.
Okay.
They don't have to do a lot of that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of the households when we was coming up and playing sports as single moms.
Okay.
We was out here doing whatever we wanted to do and figuring it out as we go.
Yeah.
A lot of these children have both parents in the household.
Yeah.
They have less responsibilities and they're sheltered from a lot.
Okay.
So when problems come up, it's like you got to figure it out. So it's a newer thing in the sense of just the upbringing of this new age of children, which isn't a bad or a good thing. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah. And we are dispelling I guess sometimes the common narrative that these children are still coming from single family homes.
Yeah.
You're in an area or in a district rather where you are seeing middle class families where these children are thriving in after school sports. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting as we talked about your background and really your day, Kareem, you are running from morning to night. And so provide perspective on just like what is your schedule?
My schedule is crazy. So I gotta be up by like 5 o'clock. We got workouts in the morning from 6 to like 7:10.
Yeah.
Then we got another workout during the day around 10 to 12.
Yeah.
And then after school we work out. And then after that, I got a group of elementary kids that come in from like 6 to 8. So I'm there all day.
Right.
And then on top of that, I got my son who's a crazy good little athlete that I got to work out as well and do homework with and all that. So it's continuously going. And then on the weekends, my weekends are gone because I got games. And I got my little son, his games, and then gymnastics with my daughters. It's crazy.
So you are, I mean, again, he didn't list it a 12-hour day. You know, I am not up for 12 hours. I don't even think I'm rolling over at 5 a.m. But Kareem, when we go back to, because there was a couple of points there, you as a father showing up versus you as a coach, how does that differ?
It's the same though.
Okay.
Because with most of the players, you know, I call them my little brother, but I look at them like my son.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, and I feel like my first 2 years, I didn't really approach it like that.
Okay.
Like they're my children. I feel like the moment I start approaching it like they're your kids, you get a better outcome. You know what I mean? Because it forces you to care. If you look at him like your son, when he having a bad day, it's not like, man, he'll get over it.
Right.
It's, oh, that's my son. Let me figure out what's going wrong with him. You know what I mean? How can I adjust to make him feel okay?
Yeah.
Now, it is tough to kind of squeeze that in when you got 14 kids, you know what I'm saying? But you got to look at it like that. You have to look at it like that. If you don't look at it like that, even just going through those motions of a 12-hour day and they're not your children, like, heck no, I ain't going to do it today. You know what I mean? It's going to be a lot of times where you're not going to show up for them. But if you get in your head that these are your kids, then you're going to always show up. You're going to always be there. Now, that's if you're a good dad, you know what I'm saying?
But let's talk about parenthood. So you are a father. You have your own basketball team.
Yeah,
Put it on the camera.
For sure. For sure. That was the goal, you know?
So
I say be fruitful and multiply.
We always drop a word here on BNBC. So, Kareem, you are a parent to 6 children.
5.
5.
Yeah.
Look at me speaking more life into the world.
Yeah, come on, man. I'm done. Shoot.
We are at 5. But talk about just some of the obstacles around being able to be present for your own kids plus your students, because you kind of skipped over this, but you have high school students.
Yeah, high school players.
And then in addition to that, you have students that you've taken on through your Howard Elite program.
Right. Elementary, middle school as well. So I try to touch every level. And I got college kids that come back and work out.
Oh my goodness.
But far as like handling kids and still handling all the schedule, it's not that hard because a lot of times they just want to come with me. You know what I mean? And my kids, if you ever come to a game or something, they in the gym moving around the gym like they own the place. So I don't really gotta do too much daddy daycare. I just catch up with them after the game. You know what I'm saying? They be living their own little lives in the gym. You know, they go to everybody's classroom and they know who to go to get food and
Yeah.
snacks and candy. So I just bring them into the life with me, and it just work out how it work out. You know, it's like a village raising my children. You know,
Yeah.
on top of me.
Love that. Love that. All right. So everyone has a desire to be successful at the highest level. How have you coached your students to stay present but still pursue what's next?
Mm. It's just always being hungry. You know,
Yeah.
so like we celebrate victories, but we also understand that we got to still go watch film on our mistakes.
Yeah.
So a big thing that I do with my kids, because I know most kids, and this is a gym that I think all coaches need to get on top of, and all players need to get on top of. And this era is big on highlights.
Yeah.
Highlights,
Yep.
highlight. But lowlights are very important.
Okay.
So I make my kids go back and watch film on their mistakes.
Yeah.
And they have to send me all of their breakdowns, all of their mistakes. Send me the timestamp of it, where you messed up. And that's every game, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because when you see your mistakes is the only way that you know you need to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you see win, you think I made it.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I'm supposed
Yeah.
to do. So losses and mistakes and things not going your way put you in a position to where you got to get your stuff together.
Okay.
And you can do that through a win. Like I said, kid, even when you win by 30, there's probably 20, 30 different ways that you done messed up or could have won by, 40,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? So in order to keep them, hungry and stuff like that, that's what I like to do.
Love that. So how often are you also incorporating that into your life?
All the time.
Sit
All
up
the
for it. Sit up
time.
for it.
Yeah. So just as a man, I go through conversations I might have had with another coach or another person that the conversation didn't go the way it should.
Yeah.
I always try to revamp, put myself in their shoes and how I said it. Did I say it the right way? You know what I mean? Even if I was right, it's okay for me to apologize and just correcting my mistakes as a man. But as a coach, consistently, I probably got the biggest staff in the state right now.
Okay.
I got like 9 coaches.
Okay.
And I ask them all the time, what could we have done better? What could I have done better as a coach? What you see in lineups? And then of course I still blame their ass sometimes too, But yeah, we always as a staff we talk, we go back, man, we readjust and figure out what we did wrong and just kind of consistently try to get better. And far as like training and stuff like that, when you're a trainer, you can always get better. But what I do is I like to watch other trainers.
Okay.
I like to see what they're doing. I like to see, if they had a kid that did something successful, what were they doing with this kid? How were they talking to this kid? What was this kid going through at the time? So I always, with myself, try to correct and get better because, like you said, the lead, I want to be at the top.
Yeah.
I'm not into nothing I do to be just like, in the mix. You know what I'm saying? Or at the bottom or in the middle. I want to be the best. I want when you refer to me or you refer to anything I'm doing, that's the top of the top. That's the highest of the highest. You know what I'm saying?
In this next segment, we have Ask Sasha, where we poll our audience for various questions. The question that came in is, Sasha, what are some red flags when you think about relationships, family, and work? Okay. For work, that's easy, having to go. For friends, is inconsistency. And I think the same thing holds true for romantic relationships too. I do have my guest here, and so we're also going to ask Coach Howard. Coach Howard, what are your red flags?
I think for friends and like a romantic relationship is pretty much the same for me. It's like how far a person is willing to go when you argue. You know what I mean? Like, cause you always gonna argue about something, but how far they willing to go is a red flag for me. And then for work, it's just the parents. Parents is a red flag. I can tell a good kid or a bad kid a mile away from based on their parents. So those are my two.
Love that. This is your favorite segment, Ask Sasha. Okay, and to that end, we in the intro talks about your social media presence, and so you have over 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is an accomplishment in itself. And you share, you don't want to necessarily always focus on the highlight reel, but that is a part of your highlight reel.
Right.
And so, how do you think you've been able to garner that level of attention as it relates to YouTube?
Man, YouTube started off for me. I was I was a middle school coach at the time.
Okay.
And if anybody know about middle school basketball, you get some of the worst skilled kids that you ever gonna find. And they all kept asking me the same question. Coach, how do I get better? How do I get better? So I started the YouTube as just a place to send kids. Like,
Okay.
go watch that video. Cause I ain't got time to sit here and talk to you for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So I would just send kids there. But as I start doing the videos, I start getting more creative myself with it. You know what I mean? And seeing like, oh, this might be actually on to something.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time when I was doing it, I didn't even know nothing about getting paid off of it or
Yeah.
nothing. I was probably like 10 videos in.
Mhm.
And then somebody came to me like, man, you get paid off doing that. You know what I mean? So I try to clean up the intro, and then really start just putting a lot of information on there that coaches and kids could use. You know
Yep.
what I mean? At the same time. And then from there, it was just about being consistent,
Okay.
with the algorithm, just kind of posting, finding the right titles, finding the right thumbnails. And then there you go. One video break, then all of them break. You know what I mean? Everything you post, now you got a fan base, you got people in the comments hating, you got people in the comments showing love, you got people reposting,
Yeah.
you got friends that, didn't even support the videos. They're like, oh, I seen you on YouTube. You
Yeah.
got, like now, like when I started like 10 years ago, or probably a little, maybe 8 years ago.
Okay.
It's kids now that's grown that'll be
Yeah.
like, I started,
Yeah.
off your videos. You know
Oh
what
my
I mean?
God.
So it's just the consistency of it. When I was consistent, really posting nonstop, I mean, it just blow up fast. It's just it's like anything in life. Anything you just consistently do, it's gonna eventually work out for you.
We got a gem here on BNBC. We've said it many a times. Consistency is key, and that's what we hope you guys are picking up on these consistent themes. You talk about consistency. You talk about looking at not just the highlight reels, but the lowlights, because again, we're all facing challenges and things that we need to overcome. And my hope is that even when folks are watching this episode, they're not so focused on the topic.
Right.
They're focused on the messaging. And I feel like that's often lost on people. Like they're like, oh, I'm not into basketball. I don't need to watch.
Right.
It's not just about basketball. These are life skills. And so to that end, Karee, what are some life skills that you want folks to, I call it stop and continue.
Mhm.
So green light continue and red light stop. What are some of those things that you would call out?
Man, I mean, like we were just talking about consistency. I mean, stuff don't work for people, man. They just wanna.
Give up.
Oh my God,
Zoom in on them.
that's crazy. And then so right now in basketball right now, it's a big thing with like transferring.
Yeah.
And I mean, it trickles down from college, to the NBA. To if things don't go your way, just move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like the ability for people just to give up. And I call it a microwave society. Like
Yeah.
everything has to come to you right there, or we gone, we out of there,
Yeah.
or I'm done with it, I'm stopping it.
Yeah.
So my thing would be stopping
Yeah.
when things just don't go your way.
Yeah.
Like this podcast right here, y'all could have however much time of being down or up or whatever. If you stay consistent, it's gonna be as great as you allow it to be. You know what I'm saying? That's with anything.
Yeah.
So my thing is, basketball players, you're not putting up the numbers that you think you should be putting up. You're not getting the playing time you think you should be getting. Don't go blaming the coach. Don't go. Just keep working.
Yeah.
Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep going. What I think people should continue to do is continue to, find things that you are doing wrong and adjust. Adjusting in life is always going to be key, because life is never, only thing that is going to remain the same is the fact that things going to change.
Yep.
So when things change, you got to be able to adjust. I got older coaches all the time that's complaining to me about how the game is going. Bro, you got to adjust. You can't keep complaining about kids transferring, that's happening.
Right.
Go get you some kids. You know what I'm
And
saying?
build relationships.
Build
with them.
relationships. Understand that these kids aren't the same.
Yeah.
You can't say the same things that you say that you was able to say to them kids 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You gotta adjust. So I think people should continue to adjust.
Mhm.
They should stop quitting and giving up as soon as things don't go their way.
Yeah. And so that's not just insight or perspective for the younger kids, but that's also as you're going through life. Because I did hear on a recent podcast around, they said the biggest disadvantage is when you go through life lying to yourself and then you get older and realize it was all a lie.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you don't want to be in your latter years thinking, what the hell did I do?
That's real.
I lie you,
Yeah, no.
So Coach Howard, here on Big Moves, Bigger Conversations, we want to play a game. The game is known as This or That. Where you feel inclined to, you can explain, but let's keep it short.
Okay.
All right, so this or that. Do you prefer early mornings or evening workouts?
Evening workout.
LeBron James or MJ?
MJ.
You don't want to elaborate there?
Nah.
Okay, leave it alone.
That'll go forever.
Angel Reese or Asia Wilson?
Wilson.
Okay. High school or elementary students?
Elementary kids for sure.
Now I know you're gonna have to explain that. All that energy they require.
Man, they listen, they ready to learn, and you ain't gotta worry about nobody else's habits but the ones you put in them.
Now that is a word. Love that. All right, last one here. Do you prefer indoor or outdoor basketball?
Indoor for sure. Keep me out the sun.
Oh, well, see, we're opposites because I would have said outdoor. So again, we talk about impact. We talk about what we want to see more of. How do you gauge impact working with so many students? And is there a particular metric that you hone in on?
It's not a certain metric. Impact for me is like when I walk in the gym. Like it's probably not a gym I can't walk in where it's not a little kid that know me or a parent that know me or when you get a certain kid that seen you like, coach, well, you knew they was sorry, you know what I'm saying? But then now they doing all these
Slow down.
well, you know, you got a kid that you know is sorry, but now they doing big things and they send you all these, you know, these highlights of them. You like, dang, they actually.
Yeah.
So I measure impact off growth. You know
Okay.
what I mean? So a lot of coaches might, oh, I sent this kid to college or this kid is but how much of that did you actually do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I take a lot of kids from the ground level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the growth that you see from them not making teams to now they scoring 10 points a game
Yeah.
and you know, their parents, they just love you. They want to buy a t-shirt and you
Yeah.
know, or you in the gym, they running to chase you down and make sure they say hey to you.
Yeah.
So it's more about the respect you garner from the community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I can tell if I'm making a real impact. You know what I mean? Because even when you're on the internet, you know, people can say, "Oh, great job," and you know, but that's the internet.
Right.
You know, just like they can say negative things.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're in person and you walking in those gyms and people know you, or they like, "Man, great job last night," you know, and they paying attention to the brand. You know what I mean? They know your symbol. Like you can walk in a lot of gyms, you see a lot of kids with my little AT shirt on. Somebody had said something to one of my coaches last week. They was like, every time you see a little kid with that little shirt on, they be good. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how you measure impact. It's like how the community, you know, perceive.
Respond.
Yeah,
Oh, I love that. I love that. All right. This has been another incredible episode of Big Moves, Bigger Conversations. But before we go, Kareem, we want you to look in the camera
Okay.
and give a call to action. A call to action is essentially what you want to leave with our audience. It could be the students, it could be the parents, it can be other men.
No, for sure. Well, my call to action for the kids will be just keep working.
Yep.
It's a lot of excuses you can make. It's a lot of excuses your parents can make on your behalf. It's a lot of times your parents can go talk to the coach for you. But if you do the work and you literally wake up every day, whatever your goal is on your mind, and you do something to make that goal come true, everything gonna fall in place. Don't allow nobody get in your head about it. Don't feel like you're not getting the opportunities you deserve. Work. And then you're gonna become what they call undeniable. Once you have worked enough to become undeniable, it's nothing for it's nothing for nobody else to argue about. It's nothing for it's nothing for you to cry about. It's nothing, you've done the work. Now, your timing may be different from somebody else's. Somebody else might only got to put in 5,000 hours. You might got to put in 10,000, but just keep working. Work is gonna put you in the best position. And you say give a call to action to the men. Now, for the men, just stay in your kids' life and just be present.
Yeah.
Just be present, just show up. You know what I mean? Do the right things. We always know what's right. We always know what's wrong. Sometimes you got to pick the wrong, but 90% of the time, if you do right, you'll be all right, man.
When are you picking the wrong, correct?
Hey.
Is that the next episode?
Yeah, that's the one right there. That's the one.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate you for joining us here on SAC. And this is the next episode of Big Moves, Bigger Conversation.